how this elevated sympathetic nervous system affects the MSK performance. So you said that people get more tightened, they close, they have problems with breathing. So how does it affect the MSK?
Well, the first thing is that you start to use your support breathing muscles. So if somebody says, I'm going to take off my jacket for this. If somebody says there's a lion, you know, the old analogy, a lion comes in the room, but if you have a stress, you need to run away from something. The first thing you do is your accessory breathing muscles, our scalenes, our upper traps, our levator scapulae, all those accessory breathing muscles go into overdrive to get us ready to move forward and away from the problem. So we actually get decreased diaphragm performance. When we get stuck there, we continue to use these muscles. So we actually never get good core control as a result. And I think when we discuss core, when we always discuss core, we forget that the core has a roof, and that's the diaphragm, and the core has a base, and that's the pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor is not for pelvic floor therapists. You don't have to know how to palpate it in order to treat it, okay? And so I think what the normal performance of the pelvic floor would be is when we take a deep breath in diaphragmatically. Now, this is not belly breathing, which none of us should look pregnant breathing, but when we actually get costal expansion, so the ribs come out, they out to the front slightly, flare slightly, and come to the back slightly, that diaphragm inverts. As the diaphragm inverts, as we inhale, the pelvic floor lengthens. When we exhale, they both come up. When we exhale forcefully, they really come up and the abdominal muscles tighten in. That actually is the reason we have our abdominals, is eccentric inhale and concentric exhale. So when we've screwed up our diaphragmatic pelvic floor piston because we have always breathing like an elevator, so that in essence just screws up our entire core. So we keep trying to strengthen core, but we never get the basement or the roof. And you've got to reestablish the basement and the roof. The other thing of interest is the vagal nerve goes through the diaphragm. And what does the vagal nerve do? It's the parasympathetic nervous system pacifier. So when we do diaphragmatically breathe, there is some research to suggest that we do get some stimulation of that vagal nerve, which can help to reestablish our seesaw of sympathetic, parasympathetic. So answer to the question, the first thing I do is teach people to breathe. And that involves lots of stuff, because if they've been breathing poorly for a long time, their thoracic spine might not be as mobile as it should be to allow for costal expansion. So you have to mobilize, like you have to look at the thoracic spine. Maybe their psoas is really, really tight. Guess what? Psoas goes up through the diaphragm. You better check their psoas length. Everybody gets stuck on hamstrings and gastrocs. They're important too. Check your psoas length. If psoas is tight, oftentimes we have glute insufficiency in people, and that's a huge driver for back pain. So you can go all the way down the chain with this if we had hours on end. But that's where I start. And that's usually what people ask me is, where do you start? Musculoskeletally, that's where I start. I start with the anatomy of breathing.